I'm curious to know what both of you think about the action taken this week by the Prince William Board, and particularly as it relates to things that the state could do in the immigration area to give local government more tools.
Sure. You know, I can tell you it's a tough emotional issue, and illegal immigration has been at the forefront of discussion over the past several months. Now, our county has worked hard to try to find a local solution, but we at the state level need to do more than we're doing. We have a complicated mess that's been created at the federal level, but that mess has landed on us, and we need to do some tough things.
What can the state and what should the state do?
Well, I believe that we need to be strong about it. I've promoted a 10-point plan that will address it, and I believe that if we start by finding employers who knowingly hire illegal immigrants, that will address the demand side of the equation, and we'll see the supply.
Do what with them?
Well, I believe that if we fine them severely, every time we discover that they're employing an illegal immigrant, we fine them up to $10,000 for an illegal immigrant.
Coming down hard on businesses that hire illegal immigrants, coming down hard on immigrants, illegal immigrants that are consuming taxpayer services, making Virginia a less hospitable place for illegal aliens to be here. Those are things that I've been working on for the last 3 years, as well as most of the other things that my opponent's talking about. It sounds like a chapter out of my legislative agenda. You know, Route 1 is a disaster because, not because of a lack of roads, but because of a lack of controlling development, of planning it better, of linking land use and transportation spending together. We've got to prioritize transportation dollars in the state budget so that we can make sure that transportation is getting its fair share. This 27 cents on each transportation dollar that Northern Virginia sends to Richmond is not acceptable, and we've continued to work in that direction. Unfortunately, as many people find when they get elected to the legislature, they don't give you a magic wand when you get this job. You have to take baby steps. But you know, we've made good progress on growth, more progress than has been made in the last 20 years combined, just in the last 2 or 3 years. And you know, I'll hand it to Governor Kane for his leadership for bringing the issue to the forefront. But there's been some of us in the legislature who've been fighting this battle ever since we got there, as well as the illegal immigration battle. You know, my mom came here legally. Other people have come here legally. We've got to make sure that the people that are waiting their turn in line have the benefits, not those that are cutting the line. You know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to seek the American dream, but you got to do it right.
Do either of you wish that the federal mandates that some services be provided to people regardless of how they're here or what their immigration status is that unfortunate in your view? Is that something that you hope the courts look at again and reach a different decision, or that maybe the Congress should tackle at the federal level?
It's a mixed bag.
So that whether it's emergency rooms, education, areas where local government can't create a bar, as they've tried to in Prince William this weekend and other places.
I believe that we need to take a tough stand, and that likely what you'll see is by taking this tough stand, that perhaps we can show the way, and that we can see some meaningful changes.
So would that mean
at the federal
education?
level.
Would that mean public education? Would it mean somebody checking visas at the emergency room door? How far should we go?
No, I don't know that we should be checking visas at emergency room doors, but I do believe that what we ought to be doing is making sure that if we identify illegal immigrants receiving services, that information is loaded into a database and that it's tracked. Now, I certainly believe that if we go back and talk again about employers and what we do there in a strong way, what we want to do is to make sure that we use the E-Verify data that's available and step it up in a big way so that employers can make sure that we're not seeing people come to work here that would be illegal.
And Bruce, the Prince William County government action is great. It's a great first step in the right direction. The state needs to come in and do what it can do, and the federal government, frankly, it's a problem that they created, and they need to get involved as well.
And in terms of the state?
But in terms of well, you asked about the federal government mandating education, health care. We absolutely need to look at those. You know, I get calls from constituents who say that they have a special needs child, and because the special needs child needs a little bit extra attention, however, because the ESOL classes in the schools are consuming all these resources, these special needs kids who are children of citizens who were born in this country aren't getting the attention that they deserve and that they need. So these are legitimate things that we need to look at. But you know, in healthcare, same thing. But we also don't want people running around with all kinds of illnesses and viruses and spreading that around. We have some public health concerns that we need to look out for as well.
Well, so how do you have it both ways? How do
you don't. The things that you absolutely have to do right now we don't have an option. The federal government says that we have to provide an education, and the federal government says that we have to provide health care, and doctors, by the oath that they take, they have to provide care to those that show up at their doorstep. But everything else, Virginia does not need to be a hospitable place to illegal aliens. We need to make sure that employers that hire them don't get off.
Right.
You know, in Oklahoma and Georgia, talk about state action. Oklahoma and Georgia in the last year have passed very good reforms, very good, tough anti-illegal immigrant laws, and the desired effect is occurring. What's happening is illegal aliens, they're not getting jobs, employers aren't hiring them, they're not getting public benefits, and what's happening? They're leaving, and that's documented. It's happening.
Let me give out the phone number again for people with questions and comments at home. The number here, 703-387-1020. We welcome your participation. Look forward to your phone calls. For Delegate Jeff Frederick, his challenger Chris Brown, and you, 387-1020, area code 703. Do either of you think that Virginia should have a prison, a jail, set up primarily for people who are in the U.S. illegally under the belief, founded or not, that the feds would come and take away people, not because they're thought to be terror threats, and there's suggestion that that's the only people that ICE is worried about, but anyone here illegally? Should we go down this road of
illegally?
Illegal. Should there be an illegal immigrant jail?
I don't think so. I think it'd be very cost prohibitive. What I think we ought to be doing is working hard as we identify people that are illegal immigrants to take them from our systems and turn them over to the federal government and have the federal government do its job. It's important for us. It'll save money.
Do you think they'd come?
The federal government? Yeah. I would certainly hope so.
You know, every person, every illegal immigrant that's detained by one of our local jails, they are eligible to get federal funding. If the Immigration and Customs Enforcement can put a detainer on that person. Once that happens, that jail receives $100-something a day per inmate, which pays for the costs associated with keeping that person there. Now, whether we need to build a jail in Virginia for just illegal aliens, or whether we need to do what the State Crime Commission has now recommended and providing more resources to the local jails and letting them keep everything that they would get from the feds. Either way, I think it's important that we do start locking up these illegal aliens and do start detaining them, because they're committing crimes, they're committing violent crimes, they're killing kids, like in Virginia Beach earlier this year. We need to put a stop to this. We need to make sure that the people that don't belong here are not committing crimes, because we have enough problems on our own.
Quick answer before we go to break. Do either of you worry that undocumented workers, as some call them, illegal immigrants, others call them, that they're now so embedded in our economy, and that some businesses, some sectors of the economy are so dependent upon them that to create a significant crackdown environment where people are either being forced away or leaving out of fear, that could have an economic consequence, not what's intended?
Actually, I believe that what it'll do is help to correct a problem. In my business, I've known people that have worked in the trades, men and women who own businesses who couldn't compete with businesses who were knowingly hiring illegal immigrants. It was
so you think it's had a
them
downward pressure on wages?
I believe so, and it's created an anti-competitive environment. And what we ought to be doing is making sure that we can protect our citizenry and make sure that our quality of life and our standards of living are safe for our citizens.
I agree, Bruce, absolutely. You know, the people aren't willing to work for the wages that they're willing to pay. But if they're willing to pay wages like everybody else, and as well as the Social Security taxes, the unemployment taxes, all the other things that every other employer has to pay, then those jobs will be available to everybody. One quick figure, you know, agriculture industry nationwide, not in our area, but nationwide, that's the industry that has the most illegal aliens working in it. But the fact of the matter is only 26% of the jobs in the agriculture industry are being done by illegal aliens. So 74% of agriculture jobs are being done by people that are here legally, which means that it's not true that they're doing jobs that Americans won't do.
I got to get a break in here. Stand by, gentlemen, for just a moment. A quick break here. Much more of our conversation with Delegate Jeff Frederick and challenger Chris Brown here on News Talk right after this.